Thank you. Thank you to the Dinner in Hell band. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here. It's good to see everyone. Good turnout.
Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of Dinner in Hell, where we dig around in the cesspool you call history to talk about some fucked up shit. I'm one of your hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, my friend Ron Maiden. What's cracking, Big Cat?
Not a whole lot. Just excited to be here, back at the studio, ready to get this thing going. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, today we're talking about a brutal execution method that has been in practice in Europe and Asia since the 1700s BCE and as recently as the 1920s.
Which method would that be, Brad the Impaler?
Well, I ought to know. Impalement.
So if you are listening to this podcast episodes in order, then the last episode was about a famous battle of Cannae. But this week we're back in the pain game.
Yeah, that's right. We're back to talking about terrible ways human beings have executed one another.
All right. I hope everyone's excited. Buckle up.
Well, the first thing I suppose to get out of the way when we're going to talk about impalement is the different types of impalement.
Okay.
And basically it boils down to two. There is transversal impalement, which implies an impalement through short ways, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Like from front to back.
I think we need to back up.
Okay.
Just give us the definition of impalement, because we're getting into different impalements. But what are you talking about? What is that?
To be impaled is to have something through you all the way.
It's like a big wooden pole with a sharpened end to a point.
Or other materials, but yeah.
Basically.
Big sharp thing all the way through you in one fashion or another.
Yeah, that's for people that aren't totally sure what impaling is. Now you know.
The more you know. The other type of impalement, and the infinitely more horrible, in my opinion, is longitudinal impalement.
How does that differentiate?
If transversal or front to back impalement is the short way, longitudinal impalement is the long way.
Okay.
That's generally... Yeah, it's the long way. It's exactly what you think it is.
From
it's generally through...
Bottom of your body?
Bottom of your body through the top, generally out of either the sternum or sometimes just all the way through the head.
Yeah. Or like up into the chin, stopping the point from going any further.
Yeah, real bad. Real bad.
Maybe without getting into detail, you can kind of imagine where the tip of the point goes into the bottom of the body. We're not talking bottom of the feet, folks. We're talking bottom of the...
Probably it's up your asshole, is what we're saying.
Butthole for the children that are listening.
Yeah.
So can we back up and tell me about the other style? Because I cut you off.
Well, a transversal impalement is from front to back. So for a scholarly example of this, if you look at Friday the 13th, when the two young lovers are impaled with the arrow, that would be a transversal impalement. Through
the back, out the ribs.
Yeah.
Or usually through the heart. A lot of times they're going for the heart, right?
Yeah, a lot of times that does seem to be the common factor.
But on the other hand, when they're doing these impalings, they're not totally wanting to execute them quickly. You can hang on a sharpened... Believe me, folks, one can hang on the tip of a sharpened pole for hours without dying.
Or days in some cases. As just flat out horrible as that is.
I mean, you could essentially decorate a whole village. I'm just kidding.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, I just read a book about foreshadowing. So I just wanted to... That was my first attempt at foreshadowing.
Good job.
Thanks. More foreshadowing to come this season on Dinner in Hell. That was a foreshadow.
A foreshadowing of a foreshadowing. That's some next level shit.
How about the fact that I said there'll be more foreshadowing and I foreshadowed right after I said that, so I was foreshadowing that.
And fulfilling the prophecy all in a matter of moments.
Wow. Okay. Keeping it serious here. This is a history show.
Some good talking there.
We're serious amateur historians bringing you things you possibly didn't know.
Impalement is a practice that goes back a long time. It's mentioned in the Code of Hammurabi, which is famous as sort of being the first prominent example of a written code of laws. He was a Babylonian king, and we know that he sentenced a woman to death for murdering her husband in favor of another man in 1772 by impalement.
For a woman?
Yeah. The punishment could also be dished out for adultery alone.
And, I mean, let's be honest. For men, you were impaled one way, up one certain way. For women, you can imagine it was up the other way. That's available.
Yeah, and in a continuance of a sad theme that you'll hear a lot on this program, most of the time it is not a pleasant place to be a woman.
If you listen to our Brazen Bull episode, you'll know that no one is safe regardless of age, from infant to old man, old woman. You're all pieces of meat for my amusement or torment, whatever I'm up to. If I'm a tyrant.
It might be strange to hear, but in a lot of ways, this is a very hopeful program for me. Because if you study this stuff, if you look at it or learn about it or read about it, you can't deny that over time, human beings become less violent.
Yeah.
It's nonstop, and it's been going on the whole time. Things get less violent and better over time, no matter what. So anybody who tells you like, oh, life would be better off if back then, or even if they go back like 50 years, they are super fucking wrong. It is way better to be alive now than it was at any point in the past, and it's likely to be true about the future too.
Thanks for that, Brad. You really got us out of the gutter there. Thanks, man, because for a second there, we were getting pretty low.
Yeah, but this is all hopeful. It makes me feel good about being alive now, that in most cases, this isn't really occurring anymore.
Yeah, like the king doesn't get to be with my wife the night of our marriage before I get to. Like, hey, that's
that
awesome.
Doesn't have to happen.
The world is awesome now.
Yeah, there is a lot of impalement going on in the ancient world, but those seem to generally be held back for prisoners of war, which, boy, oh boy, you didn't want to be one of those in the ancient world, did you? They did not treat the prisoners of war very well. They tended to die horribly.
I read that the city walls would be lined with hooks, and the prisoners would just be hung up on those hooks for the city to just walk by and look at and check it out. Man, look at all these captured soldiers. We're doing something right. All these guys bleeding to death on the walls.
I feel so comforted by how safe my city is now.
Our boys are out there capturing soldiers, hanging them up on hooks.
Get her done.
Yep. I guess you could probably like practice your bow shooting on those soldiers too, maybe. Like, why shoot at scarecrows and dummies? We can just shoot these soldiers. Fuck it.
I would probably hope for that.
They're probably naked.
The sweet release of death.
Usually when you're impaled nude. I don't know if we didn't touch on that. I mean, you can only imagine you're nude because it's...
Yeah, they really like to make sure it was super duper humiliating.
And not only, like, sometimes you're impaled, and then I believe unimpaled and killed it in a different way for your final kill.
Yeah, I think sometimes that did seem to be the case.
Like you're impaled for like 12 hours. Please kill me. And they're like, all right. Pull the pole out. That's actual pole. Thank you. Pull it out.
I imagine that would finish things off pretty quickly, because everything in there would then start to bleed at once.
Well, not if you threw them in a brazen bowl. Then you hear them tumbling around in there. Ah!
True.
I mean,
that would be like a Dinner in Hell mashup of horror.
Yeah. Episode 2, Brazen Bull. It's a pretty good episode. You should check it out if you haven't already.
We do know there was one guy who was inordinately proud of his impaling skills. The Neo-Assyrian king Ashur-Nasir-Pal. His reign started in 883 BCE. He commissioned a monument with this inscription written by himself.
Okay.
I cut off their hands, I burned them with fire, a pile of the living men and of heads over against the city gate I set up. Men I impaled on stakes, the city I destroyed and devastated. I turned it into mounds and ruin heaps, the young men and the maidens in the fire I burned.
Man.
Yeah, and that dude was super proud of it. Like the Assyrians were a rare breed in terms of how they were very terroristic.
Imagine your life back then. Where seeing a head off a body is, you probably see more than 5 in your lifetime. In front of you, not on. There's no screens. It's all you know is like scrolls.
Yeah, for the Neo-Syrians,
Messenger pigeons.
It was a longitudinal impalement that began just under the ribs. And then just another shitty fact about how women have been treated in history, this was also a punishment for abortions.
Man. Women were impaled for, what's it called, infanticide?
Infanticide?
Infanticide. Yes. So that means infant that is born, or is this inside the woman? Are we talking abortion? Or are we talking like if a woman kills her own baby? God, if you start to think about that, what would be the motive to kill your own baby? Probably to keep it from becoming a slave, a life of slavery maybe. And the king is like, you are not killing my future slave. That's my property. Maybe that'd be one motive. You're trying to spare it from a life of hell.
I suppose. Or, I mean...
God.
Just be like postpartum depression was probably a thing, and they didn't even have a name for that until whenever. So who knows? It could be. It must have been so stressful just to be alive. Who the hell knows what would have caused it? But
when we're talking about punishing women back then, women were punished for just being drunk and wild, like drunk and whooping it up, like, yeah, girls gone wild. Ah, look at these.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of ways that people are perpetuating that kind of shit, but you go back a while and it gets worse and worse.
I mean, what else did you drink besides wine? I mean, who wasn't shit-faced from like,
you couldn't even
9 years old and up?
You couldn't even drink water. Wine was safer.
Yeah. You don't know what kind of stuff's in the well water.
Yeah,
could make one hallucinate and...
They didn't have germ theory. That's why they were forbidden from eating pigs and stuff like that. Because of trichinosis.
Just foreshadowed.
Food poisoning can cause all kinds of problems.
You never know. One could have an intense want and need to dance. I mean, but what am I talking about? Okay, so...
Impalement comes up in the Bible too. In the second book of Samuel, it's mentioned that Saul's sons were impaled by the Gibeonites.
Can't stand Gibeonites, be honest with you.
Yeah, they're always impaling Saul's sons.
Gibeonites.
Impalement comes up a little bit in Rome. There are mentions of crosses where people were crucified, except they'd be hung upside down and with a stake driven through them, which... Boy, oh boy, that really sounds like a terrible way to go out.
Okay, when you said hung upside down, I immediately just pictured they were hung with like ropes around their ankles, hung by ropes. But you're saying they're on a cross hung upside down.
Well, I think most of the time people were tied to crosses.
Okay.
Like they were crucified by being tied to them.
So I'm trying to picture, this is almost like an upside down cross, like metal, like satanic.
I believe that's called St. Peter's cross. St. Peter was crucified upside down. So that's why all the people with the satanic bands and shit with the upside down crosses, an upside down cross is still a Catholic symbol.
Okay. Chill out, metalheads.
Yeah, come on. Learn your history.
Right.
Get with the pentagrams.
Pentagrams.
Yeah.
Shit. Anyways, so yeah, these people are hung, feet up, head down, so all the blood is going to rush, towards your torso. As soon as you pull that plug out, that stake, as soon as that stake comes out, you might as well get a little barrel. Might as well get that blood all in the barrel. Save yourself a whole heck of a time cleaning it up. Imagine. Big old puddle of blood to go. Get the mop out.
Well, that's why you just do it outside. Just leave blood all over the place. That's basically how I imagine the world in the past. Just blood all over the place.
Blood everywhere.
Yeah, blood all over the place.
Imagine how strong your immune system was back then. Like, shit. Flu? We didn't even have the flu, dude. What are you talking about? We had plagues, but we didn't have flu. So sucky if your job was cleanup crew at any type of city.
Yeah, my God. Except the worst part about that is I'm pretty sure that job did not exist.
Let's say you have a storefront and someone gets killed on your storefront, by the knights and stuff, like, shing, they stab him, like, you're dead now, and the body drops, and, like, the knights walk away, like, Now you're stuck here, and you got this freaking dead guy. Do you get, like, all his jewelry and shit? Like, do you have to take the body and find something to do with it, or do you just, like...
Man, I don't know, but that's really interesting.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I imagine there's a whole crew of, like, street urchins that would just clamber for everything.
I'm like, man, there's probably like a place where you take the bodies, like a little pit area away from the city, like an apocalypto, and the dude was running. It was just all bodies from dudes they sacrificed.
I've never seen that film.
Okay, like they sacrifice people because it hasn't rained.
I got like shitty about buying Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Don't even fucking worry. It's good.
I don't even think I've been able to watch Lethal Weapon since that shit.
Shut up. Man, I haven't watched my conspiracy theory DVD since he had his Jewish outburst or his shit with his wife.
So really, the other sort of golden age in the history of the world for impalement was during the late Middle Ages in Europe. In 1532, the Constitutio Criminalis Carolina.
Nice job.
Yeah, I believe a document in the Holy Roman Empire. A stake through the heart was given as punishment for women who commit infanticide, combined with being buried alive. Mm-hmm. So you get all the horror of being buried alive, but then at the last moment, they basically hammer a stake through your heart. A long one, but still, they're hammering a stake through your heart like they're killing a vampire.
The woman would be thrown into the grave that's dug. She would be she'd be nailed down still, where she can't move her arms or legs.
Nailed down. God.
Nailed down, okay. In a grave that's dug. They would take a wood pole and place it on her heart. And then they would fill the grave with dirt up to her head and leave her head exposed. And so you're looking at a grave with a head and a wooden pole coming up. Then they would take a iron or steel like pole that's sharpened, line it up with the wood, and ping, pound that thing into her heart with her head exposed out of the grave. And she just, you're welcome. Hey, you got me in the baby eating shit on Brazen Bull, man. I just wanted to bounce that off you.
Oh, yeah, I'm squirming hard over here. But in Germany, during that same time period, adulterous couples would basically have that treatment.
You mean the guy that like cheated on his woman with the woman, those two, and then like the woman would be back like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, the couple who had committed adultery, one would be laid down in an open grave, followed by a layer of thorns. Then the other would be laid on top. They'd be buried alive and then have a stake driven through them. Yeah, so impalement seems mostly to be a punishment for prisoners of war or as a punishment for moral crimes.
Dude, what if the guy that was killed with the mistress, what if he was like, this is so worth it?
Oh,
she's so amazing. He's like, so worth it, bro. So worth it. It was fucking blanket of thorns.
Oh, God. I can't imagine a scenario that makes that possible.
This is our most darkest one, I think. And we haven't talked about killing men.
It gets so much
Can we talk about killing men? I mean, men too. Okay, men got impaled. Okay, next.
Yeah. Well, first in that time period, in the modern day Czech Republic, it was a punishment for people who raped virgins. And
it's still used today in prison. They still do that with mop handles today in prison.
They do. Yeah, if you rape children or virgins and go to prison today, it's still a punishment, a moral punishment. When somebody who went there for messing with some kids got taken out. So it's ironic that the punishment has had sort of the same context throughout its history. Well, it wouldn't be a podcast about impalement if we didn't talk about my namesake, Vlad Tepes III,
otherwise known as
Vlad the Impaler, also known as Dracula. He was very brutal, especially on people by whom he felt betrayed or his family. Real stickler for loyalty, this guy. And I tell you what, I admire that. I admire that about the guy.
Isn't that how you got your nickname, Brad the Impaler? Because of his loyalty?
Yeah, because I'm so loyal. I'm as loyal as Vlad the Impaler.
See, that's what I like about you is you always look to see the good in people, even when it's someone who like eats meals surrounded by impaled armies.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on in their lives. You've never walked a mile in their shoes.
You didn't know what life was like back in 1400s in modern day Czech Republic.
Maybe this was progressive. Maybe there was some people who figured out this is the most humane way to execute people, and we just are reading it wrong because we know better. Oh, never mind. I don't believe that. Yeah, so he is famous, obviously, because it's his name for this punishment. And it was used most quantitatively on war prisoners. He used it frequently on just about everybody for anything wrong. Mm-hmm. But the reason he's so famous is because he used it on his war prisoners. He was fighting the Ottoman Empire, and, let's let Chuckacondyles... that is the best I can say this word, I swear.
Chuckacondyles, like the singer?
Chuckacondyles, or Shaka Khan...
Chuckacondyles?
Chuckacondyles.
I think it's Chuckacondyles.
Chuckacondyles. All right. So, Chuckacondyles wrote about a situation the Sultan found himself in while he was pursuing Vlad through the mountains. He went into a city to find 20,000 impaled Turks that were Vlad's prisoners of war.
20,000 prisoners of war.
20,000 men impaled on stakes longitudinally, the long way.
We got people that are complaining about, like, deforestation today. You think about 20,000 impaling poles.
Yeah.
That's a massive forest. God damn, Vlad the Impaler.
It was often described that way, as he would attend these as well. He would eat dinner in a what was described as a forest of impaled, screaming, dying men.
He's probably eating a baby.
I can't even imagine what that scene would look like. I wouldn't be shocked.
If I'm Vlad the Impaler, I'm eating a suckling baby. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Probably the child of one of these victims.
Well, he was Dracula, though, so he probably didn't eat anything.
He probably sucked their blood.
Yeah, but I assume infant blood would somehow be especially desirable for a vampire for some reason.
Imagine you're stuck up on a pole. Like, you're dying, like you said. You're screaming and you're dying, like, ah! And all of a sudden, Vlad down there, he's like, woof. He turns into a bat. Now you got a bat flying in your face, like,
like taunting you.
Yeah, you're like, God damn it, isn't impaling enough?
But then you might be able to get him. I even impaled, I think I'd be strong enough to kill a bat.
But then he's like, woof, he's back, and it's Vlad with his top hat and his.
Yeah, but maybe it takes him a minute. It's worth a shot.
Top hat, more like a crown, probably. Like, what would Vlad wear?
Probably a helmet.
What would Vlad wear? You want to tweet us what you think what kind of headgear Vlad the Impaler would wear? Tweet us at Dinner in Hell.
Hashtag Vladwear.
There was also a story where Vlad the Impaler had 2 monks impaled as a favor to them to get them to heaven faster. And not only that, you're going to love this. Vlad the Impaler had 2 monks sentenced to impale and whatever, had them killed by impaling to get them to heaven faster. It's like, oh, I'll get you to heaven faster, no problem. And then after the 2 monks were dead, their donkey was braying like after the people were dead. So he impaled their donkey too, just for fucking shits and giggles.
God damn.
Vlad, you had a donkey impaled.
Why would you bother to impale a donkey?
Fucking donkey's like, what the I was just carrying your shit for you. Now I'm impaled. Like,
the fuck is this?
Like, sick of carrots anyways.
God, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, that just about wraps it up for this week on Dinner in Hell. Me and Ron were wondering, what do you think some of Vlad the Impaler's favorite hashtags would be? If you can make those up, you can tweet those to us over at Dinner in Hell Pod. You can email us at dinnerinhellpodcast@gmail.com. We are also on Facebook, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Please don't forget to rate and subscribe on iTunes. It helps us out a lot. And we are also at dinnerinhell.com.
We're everywhere.
We're watching you.
I want to say thanks to our awesome band who's here playing now, and thanks to everyone for being here again. It's awesome. Thanks for turning out.
Studio audience was incredible today. Thank you so much. Good night.
See you next time.